So, welcome to another episode of Phoenix VR for Good. I am Dennis Fox Bonilla. We started this 4.5 years ago, this meetup, and have had several hundred people join now with all kinds of interesting backgrounds. I think today is going to be a really special presentation on the arts. I'll give you a little bit of background in a moment. First, I just wanted to ask if we've got any news or announcements anyone needs to make to the rest of the group. Dawn, I'm going to call you out on this one. Congratulations on your new gig. I know you've posted in several places. Would you be open to talking a little bit about the job you just got?
Sure. Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Don Balanzat. I was a former student of Fox and a physicist at ASU, and I currently I'm switching into a new gig with Blue Origin, where I'll be making XR applications for the rocket engineering and design pipeline, as well as training future human space travelers. So super excited for that.
Congratulations. Any other announcements? Jay, I know that you are in the blockchain community here. Any announcements you'd like to make for our group?
Well, on March the 23rd at 7 p.m., we have Jason Horton of Nori.com, who will be demonstrating his carbon sequestration NFT that goes within other NFTs in order to neutralize the carbon emission that's associated with minting NFTs. And he's received a lot of accolades from around the world, including the IEEE and Julian Lennon. John Lennon's son used Jason's NFTs within a Beatles memorabilia auction that happened February 7th. So Jason's going to be showing us some pretty cool stuff that you can do with these non-fungible tokens, which I know are a little controversial, but Nori is removing carbon from the atmosphere using non-fungible tokens. I'm really, really proud of what he's created. And so if you'd like to join that, go to Meetup Desert-Blockchain.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. Any other announcements? Marshall, I know you're heavily involved in the local Phoenix community. Any announcements on your side?
Let's see, all kinds of fun things. On Thursday, a couple different events going on. I'm actually going to be up in Wickenburg talking about Western movies.
Oh, cool.
With
Very
Eduardo
cool.
Pagan. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then Thursday evening, for the last 2 years, we've been doing Arizona History Happy Hour. And so we have on educator Candace Green, who during the pandemic was roaming around the state, taking her students on field trips. So she's created trivia from those adventures.
Radical. And how do we find you, Marshall?
So that is, if you check out, let's see, it's on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So if you go to Marshall Hip Historian, also you can find it tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on AARP of Arizona on their Facebook page as well.
Radical. Thank you. All right. So without much further ado, I will give you a little background on who we're going to be talking with, who's going to be presenting, and what this is going to be about. So this presentation will introduce Act One, an Arizona nonprofit organization dedicated to providing meaningful arts experiences to students in their one-of-a-kind VR arts field trip program, Arts Immersion. We're going to watch and listen and hear about students and their reactions, and teachers and their reactions as to the use of virtual reality and non-virtual reality for field trips. And we're going to learn how Act One is using technology and art to break economic and geographic barriers for access to arts education in Arizona. Our presenter, Dr. Beth Maloney, is a National Board Certified Teacher, the 2014 Arizona Teacher of the Year. Slow clap on that one. And enjoyed 20 years as a classroom teacher. Beth is a passionate advocate for students, teachers, and quality arts education. She was recently honored with Carolyn Warner Legacy Award. Beth is thrilled to bring her passion for arts education to Act One as the Arts Education Director So Beth, I will hand over control over to you.
Thank you so much. This is, I've got to say, I wasn't nervous until like Don started talking. And then I was like, wow, this is quite an audience we have here today. I told Fox, I really am used to speaking to a lot of teachers. And it was a really great opportunity to come and speak to this amazing group today. I'm just so excited to be here with you all tonight. Excited to explain our program as best as I can and take your questions. So we're just going to dive right in. I've got some stuff to show you here tonight. So this is just a little bit about us. We were founded back in 2011. We've been celebrating our 10-year anniversary the past year by Mac and Russ Perlick, just with a single vision of expanding access to the arts for students throughout Arizona. And that's really our main mission. That's what we are all about. And we are a mighty full-time staff of 5. We get a lot done with a mere staff of 5, and we have a great part-time team that I'll show you in a minute too. Act 1 is really all about 2 main programs. Our bread and butter is our in-person field trip program. We've been running this program for 10 years. And we have been thrilled to serve 250,000 students on in-person field trips. And those are mostly students from Metro Phoenix and Tucson. And we handle all of the logistics for their teachers. We purchase the tickets from our arts and culture partners in bulk. We ask nothing for the teachers, not even transportation. We provide their transportation. We provide educational accompanying materials. And that really is the core of Act 1, these in-person field trip programs. And all we ask is $1 per student per ticket for those programs. But I'll show you in a minute, working just with Title I students in Phoenix and Tucson actually leaves out a large number of students throughout Arizona. And that's kind of partially how our VR field trip was born, and that is called Arts Immersions. And I'm going to tell you so much about this coming up. This little paragraph here is our real short and sweet version of what it is, but I'm going to tell you all the whole story of it. No, it doesn't want to go. There we go. I did want to share with you too, and I'm so glad that you were bringing up Candace Marshall, because she's one of our favorite teachers on the entire planet. What a gift she is for her students. But when I left the classroom after 20 years, it was really important for me to maintain the expert voices, the teachers that still do that job every day. So all of our work at Act 1, all of our programmatic decisions are made by our team of teachers we call Act 1 ambassadors, including the fabulous Candace Green. And I was actually meeting with them at 5 o'clock today. We had our monthly meeting, and they are the folks that really helped us inform a lot of our decisions for VR content and our accessibility options, which I'll tell you about in a little bit too. So even before the pandemic, our board kind of had this come together meeting where we realized we're doing a great job of providing access to the arts for students in rural Phoenix, in Metro Phoenix and Metro Tucson, where we can put students on a bus and take them to our arts partner and return them to their school in a school day. 70 miles is about what you can do on a school bus in any given school day. But obviously, that leaves out huge swaths of rural Title I schools, or just schools that are outside of the metro areas that we could not get on a bus. At the same time, we started looking at the dismal pictures of rural arts participation for students. And everything clicked when we met and actually a kind of a technology company, but more like a company that really fits the right people to the right places. And that they're called Robot Proof. I'm going to tell you about them in a minute. But after our beginning conversations with them, it came very crystal clear to us that geography was a barrier that was standing in our way of access. And a virtual reality field trip program could absolutely knock down that barrier in a way that no one else has really explored in arts education to our knowledge. And that's kind of how it was born. We met this amazing company called Robot Proof. They're actually a kind of a marketing and strategy company, but they helped us fit our content together. They helped us find our 360 filmmakers. They helped us find the right editors, the right musicians. They really were instrumental in building our custom technology. This is a picture of all of us together during our very first beta test. So this was the very first time we rolled the equipment into a school, and they were there with us to hold our hands the entire way. They've just been absolutely really helpful and phenomenal. They wanted to be here with us tonight because they're gonna be a lot better at taking your technical questions than I am. But I'm just gonna fake my way through it and you'll all be able to call me out. But they're just fantastic to work with, and I can't wait to show you the technology that they built for us. So here it is. This is really what we are taking into our schools. The cases are 100% transportable. So they're like really heavy wheelie suitcases that are not the 4-wheeled ones. They're just the old-fashioned 2-wheel kinds. So they're kind of awkward and heavy to move, but they are so cushioned and they keep our VR headsets so safe. And what really makes them custom built is that they have the Wi-Fi built right into them. This was really important to me as someone who has used school Wi-Fi for a very long time. And I know that it's just not that great when there are so many devices connected to it. And going out to real rural and tribal schools, it just became super clear to us that we really needed our own Wi-Fi within this. And they built it right into our master cases. We have 2 sets of 50 headsets. So we have 2 travel teams that can take this experience out to students at any given time. But if we have more than 50 connected at a time, they don't talk to each other as well. We've tried 100 in a room before, and the connectivity wasn't as strong with just 50. So we like to say we keep it at about 45 kids or less. All of our headsets are run off of this app that they have designed. This is called their Borderless app. And we have license to use this amazing app. It connects to each of our headsets and plays our content. What is really cool about this app is our accessibility functions are actually built right into this as well. So one of the things that we ask the teachers when they're signing up for our program is, do you have any students that need some special accommodations? And if so, click the radio buttons on which ones there are. So on any given headset, we can program in without any mess or acknowledgement on the part of the teacher or the student. We can say these tablets are going to have Spanish subtitles. These tablets are going to have English subtitles. Inside of this app, we can raise and lower the brightness and volume of any individual headset or all the headsets, of course, at the same time. And then if any student, for a variety of reasons, just doesn't feel comfortable wearing the headset, we have the same experience on tablets, and they can wear headphones. So we really looked at how we could build in some accessibility features right off the bat. Since our mission is all about access, we wanted to make sure that we were giving access to every student who has this chance to take this field trip for sure. And of course, COVID precautions were very necessary in this time. This was a great option for a lot of schools, including Candace's, whose district said, sorry, you can't do any field trips this year. That is incredibly disappointing to students and teachers. So this was a great option for us to say, oh, well, you can't get out and visit one of our arts partners, but we could take this experience into you. Our VR specialists who run the program are vaccinated, boosted, masked, and of course we sanitize the headsets and all the materials between each program each time we run it with students. So this is kind of just a real general look at it. I'm going to keep going unless I hear any questions right off the bat, just from that little bit. These are our amazing VR specialists who actually take the program out and run it in the schools. When I first started hiring for this job, I figured we would find some maybe retired teachers because we have a lot of teachers in Arizona who are not actively teaching but miss life in the classroom. And we've only found one of those so far. Eric is our retired teacher. And our other three folks come to us from different worlds of art or media and just really enjoy the experience of taking VR to students. This is a look at what the experience is actually like in the classroom. As a teacher, it was really important for me to replicate what is kind of the best parts of a field trip experience. It's not just watching whatever you're there to see, but it's talking to your friends. You know, did you see that? What did you like best? What was your favorite part? So when we were creating this, I really wanted to take some opportunities to expand the field trip so that you're not merely having the experience in the VR, but we actually have the experience divided up into roughly 10 or 12-minute chapters. And after each chapter, the students take off the headsets and the VR specialists are trained to engage them in conversation between and amongst each other and their teacher and the VR specialist. So it's really, it's not just the experience of the VR, but really having a discussion about what they saw, what they learned, what they liked, what they didn't like. And then at the end, we have a survey. We have partnered with ASU and the Herberger Institute of Design Artworks. And we have just actually last week launched our pilot survey that we're hoping will become a published research study eventually with what we're learning about what the students are learning about the VR program. So this is only just launched, but I actually have some responses that I'll show you in a minute just from our very first week of this. This is a nice look at what freedom and expression, our very first VR experience, is all about. We are very much looking forward to filming future, what we call seasons of VR, but we do only have this one right now. It's really an interesting and unique VR experience. I have the YouTube link there. I would highly encourage you to watch our trailer at some point in time so that you can watch it in action. And I'm going to extend an opportunity for all of you to try it, of course, because talking about VR is like dancing about architecture. As I keep telling all of our staff lately, you just have to try it. You can't talk about it, you have to try it. But it begins with an animated chapter that is all about the history of public art, what public art means, and in particular, the Mexican mural movement and Diego Rivera. And then in chapter 2, we meet a Phoenix-born artist who is practicing his art in Chicago, and he paints with us in his studio and takes us around the city of Chicago to see his murals up all over. And his agent is actually the founder of the Chicago mural movement, and she takes us around murals in Chicago and to her gallery and talks about being a curator. And then in chapter 3, we go to the beautiful Fox Tucson Theater and see a groundbreaking all-female mariachi group give us several performances and speak to us about being an all-female mariachi group. It's very entertaining. It's very inspirational and educational. Anecdotally, I can tell you that the mariachi chapter is the favorite chapter. I can back that up with our survey data because everyone loves that one. But when you are in the room and you hear that music come on, the kids' bodies change and everyone just like, they start swinging to the music, their feet start tapping. It is just an experience you have to try to really see how amazing the content of it is. There's more to it also than just the field trip experience. We give the teachers an education guide with extension activities. You know, if they want to take this one field trip and extend it into weeks and weeks of lessons, they could do that. Objectives for them to have for their students that day on the board. And then we have some great leave behinds that we leave with the students. And here's a picture of one. This is my favorite story. We give the kids a coloring book full of the murals that they see in the story, but then also murals that they can find around Phoenix and Tucson with the artist's Instagram handles and what the mural really looks like on the street. And when we pass these out to kids, I have to tell you, it is the high school boys who are the most ecstatic and the first ones to pick up their colored pencils and start coloring. It's the most interesting experience you have ever seen, to see high school boys, big, 17 and 18-year-olds just get wildly excited about a coloring book and colored pencils. It's pretty fantastic. So we started running the program statewide in November, and we've served 3,300 students so far, hoping for a couple hundred more for sure before the school year runs out. We've hit a lot of rural locations, which is, of course, is our goal, not just Phoenix and Metro, but really reaching out around the state and trying to find students that don't have access to daily arts education or field trip experiences. This has kind of been students and teachers' reaction so far. A lot of teachers say that this is just so much easier. There's no planning involved, not that teachers have to plan any of our Act 1 field trips anyway, but it's really, it's easy for us to kind of combat the narrative of learning loss when we can say, but we're not going to fight with your learning time. This is simply an hour of your time. And teachers really welcome us in, and administrators after that part too. But we've really nailed it with our content, that our students that we serve feel like we have found artists and art that represent them and really inspire them to try new things. And we couldn't have asked for more than that. In our research study with ASU, this is the very first survey that came through right when I was prepping for this presentation. But the results were just huge. And our last question, of course, is, what did you learn from this experience? Just a real open-ended, just to see what kids will write. And I just loved what these students wrote in our last ones, because you just can't get anything better than learning how to express your feelings and knowing that it doesn't matter if you're a female, you can do anything. I just loved those. And I wanted to show you some examples too, that we go above and beyond too, that if a teacher has time for us and wants us to stay longer, we will sometimes create murals with students. A lot of times they will create art or do the extension activities after we leave the classroom, and then they will send us pictures. These are just some of the murals that came from Trevor Brown High School after we visited them 2 weeks ago, and they were just too beautiful not to share. So I am going to stop there, and I would love some questions. Oh, thank you, Fox. We are very passionate about what we do, for sure. You have to love kids and you have to love field trips to work at Act 1.
So I've got a question. Is the goal, now that you've been able to find a partner, create this technology, extend your content into the virtual space, is the goal to reach more students in Arizona? Where do you go from here?
Oh, that's such a good question. Really, we are 100% tied to our mission of providing access to the arts. So to us, that means how many students across Arizona can we bring this experience to? And then we're kind of thinking along the lines of, we've served, I'm going to say we're going to serve 4,000 or 5,000 students this year with this content. So next year, I'd like to serve an additional 4,000 students who haven't seen this content yet. But then we're also talking about, how many more seasons can we be building now moving forward? Will we start building just one more season? Or are we going to take some of the lessons that we learned in filming our first season and say, maybe build 3 seasons at a time so that we can actually start offering our teachers a menu of VR experiences, so that if I'm a history teacher and I really want this one that's, has more of a history arts focus, that I can choose that one. But we're also talking about other types of goals, because we know Arizona is not the only state that sits in the same category of a lack of funding of arts education. So what if we expanded the program into New Mexico? What if we expanded into Utah? These are definitely conversations that we're having. We're only at the ground floor of some of these conversations, but I mean, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir here that the possibilities with this particular technology are so endless that our goals can be fairly large because the possibilities are so endless.
And then
We're limited by our funding.
I was gonna say, yeah. So it sounds like a primary blocker is financial. Is there anything more in there? Like, are there logistical? I mean, it's 5 of you all supporting an entire state, which feels like you would probably need maybe some more staff, or to offload it to some other folks so you could scale. Like, what would you be looking for? Like if you had somebody that was in Arizona or even outside of Arizona looking at this and saying, oh, how do I help these folks? Like, what other things in addition to the financial support could you use?
That's so interesting. I mean, obviously financial support is number one when we're looking at, we do want to film some more of these, and we do want to pay our staff to take these out to rural locations. And we're 100% nonprofit. I'm sure I forgot to say that, but we are 100% nonprofit. We are governed by our board. But one other thing that is really helpful for us is conversations like this, where people that know the technology and kind of see where we're going like this, just kind of put our message out there and help us spread the word. We also suffer from a fair amount of a lack of awareness, because there's still a large population of teachers that hear VR and think, oh, that's not for me, or that's not for my students, I don't get VR. But what we do is such a customized, almost like in and out field trip. It really is for every teacher and every student, with the caveat that it is written for 5th grade through 12th grade. I don't believe I mentioned that, but it is not for every student unless they are 5th grade through 12th grade, just because of the content and the appropriateness of wearing, VR for 30 minutes at a time. But helping us with awareness, helping us with, if there are arts or tech organizations in other states that may be interested in having conversations, we are very interested always in having conversations on, just reaching more students. All students deserve quality arts education, for sure. Oh yes, thank you, Becca. And also we are hiring VR specialists all the time. It's a great, fun job if you know someone who's looking for some part-time work, for sure. We pay well, and you get to go hang out with students every day and use VR every day. It's a fabulous job. Definitely, those would be good ways to help us. Oh, Fox, we do take donations. Becca definitely just put it in the link, put the link in the chat. And I would like to invite you all, we don't do really traditional fundraisers. We like to invite our funders to field trips. to see the students experiencing the art live. But I would love to have you all come to us for one of our friend-raisers where we lay out the VR and have the VR specialists run it as if it were a real trip, a real experience. So Fox, if that's okay, I will, when we set up our next one, I would share that information with the Meetup folks. That'd be great.
I'm sure a lot of people here would appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome.
I have a question. I have a question. I actually have a lot of questions. So I think, Beth, my first question is, can I take you to coffee? Because I cannot have all my questions here.
Yes, Sky, we need to do that anyway. Yes, please.
Yes. Yes, I heard about your organization through my husband, Charlie, who you know.
I think I have a meeting with Charlie next. I think Charlie's on my 7 o'clock meeting.
I know. Okay, yeah. Busy people. So I'm an artist and I'm working with VR. So like all of this together is kind of like my head's about to explode. But what I was curious about is, so Act One is a nonprofit. Is that correct?
Yes.
Have you ever thought about, since funding is an issue, having a commercial or retail side that you could actually offer for pay these experiences, and then that actually is funded into the school program, like a birthday party situation or something that you could actually have like in a retail space or some other kind of space?
I love that your head goes there. That's so brilliant. We have had some ventures in the past where if you weren't a Title I school, we would still make all the field trip arrangements and you would just pay an increased rate, not the $1 rate, to kind of subsidize our field trip program. That kind of all fell away over COVID, but it's really interesting that these conversations, like now that we're kind of in the next phase of whatever future life looks like, it may be time to kind of start revisiting those types of things too. And we have had only like a tiny bit of success so far, but marketing to non-Title I schools to purchase the field trip experience rather than it being free. And then that way it could kind of subsidize the program as well. And we're only kind of scratching the surface on kind of our advertising and our paid opportunities, so to speak. But I think that's an opportunity we should explore for sure.
Yes, and also I was curious about, and maybe this is for Robot Proof. I was curious if those headsets were from a different company that white labeled those headsets and pre-programmed them, because I work with a company that's doing that.
Oh, cool. Our headsets are Pico headsets.
Yeah, that's the one.
Then, oh, nice. Yeah, because I mean, from my very limited understanding, Pico lets us kind of put whatever we want to on there without the kind of ties that Oculus has. So we were able to use the borderless software very smoothly on the Pico headsets.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you could see in the pictures, but we even have like the nice label on the front and embroidery on the back. And that's part of the custom designed bus cases. We call them bus cases, you know, because we're in the school bus business, kind of, so to speak. But the rest of the custom built technology is the Wi-Fi in the tech boxes and the wheelie tech boxes, so we can wheel them back and forth. We have 2 lovely Act One vans that were donated to us by Jim Quick Ford and a couple of donors. So the vans get a lot of use and the tech gets a lot of use in and out of the vans all the time.
I have more, but I will, whenever you are ready, I will bombard you with more questions or ideas. Thank you.
I like your questions, Sky. Those were awesome.
So you all have the ability to raise your hands if you would like. That way we can call on you, because I suspect there are a few questions. So anybody else looking to get some questions answered.
Yeah, maybe I missed it. I heard you do like art history stuff. Do you also do like the mechanical part of art, like stuff that exposes them directly to like certain techniques or anything like that? Or is it more like
So we haven't gotten anything that specific as far as like teaching art. Our work
Okay.
is very much more
like history and appreciation?
yes.
Okay, cool.
I would even go as far, definitely there was a lot of history in this first season, Freedom and Expression, because we were really focusing on the tie between this amazing muralist that we found in Chicago and him being so inspired by Diego Rivera and Frida Kahlo that kind of all naturally evolved into this beautiful story. And then we found the mariachis and their story just kind of naturally tied into it as well. So it actually happened really organically. I'm curious as we start to think through future sessions, because you're actually the second person today who has talked to us more about being interested in the mechanics of an art form. Someone, my executive director, Bernadette, is on the call right here with me, labeled as Act One Arizona. But we were on with a librarian today, just having a random conversation with a librarian that we support. And she was talking to us about the importance of the mechanics of dance and how great it would be if we had a VR on the mechanics of dance. And I'm hearing your interest perhaps in a particular like mechanics of an art form. I love these ideas.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like I worked a lot in kind of like education is my background, and I worked a lot with like embodiment and stuff, and really, that stuff is not hard it's pretty established and it's not hard to implement. Really, the hardest part is the infrastructure, which it seems like you already have like a really solid grasp on. So I think that would be a really good next step, or season 2 or what have you. Yeah.
That's really helpful, Don. Thank you. I think that some of the conversations that we've had lately are really starting to shape our thoughts on future seasons. One connection that the teachers that we have on our team, they brought up, and you'll probably see this as an educator too, they felt very strongly that it was nice to have ties to an artist who was born and raised in Phoenix, because they kind of have that connection. They know, this area a lot more than they know Chicago. To some of our kids, Chicago feels light years away. And that was something that the teachers really felt very strongly, was we needed this like Arizona connection. So as we're all kind of having these conversations, if any particular artist is popping into your minds, like please shoot them our way, because really the best ideas seem to grow from conversations like this. We all know someone, I hear there's this awesome artist named Sky who's doing work in VR, this is how we meet each other and get to know all this. It's so fun.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'll definitely be looking more into your website and stuff, because I'd never heard of you before this, but this is really
and
cool
you got to
stuff.
come and try it, Don. You really got to come and try it. Marshall, I love that I get to call on you with your hand up.
Because I'm like, where's the button? I'm like, oi. So as a former librarian, have done a lot of work across the board, intergenerational. And so, I mean, like with what I've done, especially with Arizona History Happy Hour, we have 100 episodes in the can of that already. And the audience is pretty much adults. And so I'm wondering if there's not that I want to add any more work to your all plate, but, adults love this stuff as well.
I'm so glad you're bringing that up, because we're actually, for several reasons, we're looking to ways that we can bring this to more adults. And we're actually starting to focus on assisted living homes right now, because that's an audience that doesn't always get to go out and enjoy things. But one thing that occurred to us is we can't work all summer. I can't provide work for my VR specialists because we can't get into every single, summer school or summer camp, although we're certainly trying very hard. But it occurred to us that, there are a lot of adults that enjoy this just as much as students do. Every adult that we have put this on so far has just become our biggest fan, really regardless of age. We have a particular amazing board and a board in Tucson. That's our Southern Advisory team, of which Priscilla is part of, labeled here as owner. But they tend to be of an older generation on our board and on our Tucson Advisory team. And we were a little bit nervous about floating it out to some of them at first, but they have become our biggest supporters and truly just minds open to the experience, not afraid of the technology at all. And Marshall, I think you're 100% right. If we're only looking at bringing this to students, it's not only students that suffer from a lack of arts enrichment and arts education. We know this, and our mission is arts access for students, but aren't we all students in one way or another? You're a librarian, you are, yes.
Indeed. I mean, it's like
I
you're
learn
always
from you
learning.
all the time.
Yeah. I would also like to throw out an artist. So Stacy with Puppet Pie. So she does, actually, she has a mobile ice cream truck. She's turned into a mobile puppet lab.
We know
And
her ice cream truck.
If you see this guy right here, that's her handiwork. She is also a puppeteer on Sesame Street.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think if you're looking for that,
her.
I mean, at some point would love to sit down because, there are so many local connections. I mean, I love the idea that you're using Scent Rock. There are so many. Oh my gosh. I mean, tomorrow is National Harriet Tubman Day. And so on Happy Hour, we're going to talk about the statue out in Mesa that I bet most people don't even know stands there. And so it's a way to clue people in on what's in their own environment that they might drive by daily and not even know is there.
I love that. I love that. Yes, if you could arrange an intro for me, I just want to meet her for fun as well as for
Oh yeah,
VR
I mean,
reasons.
she's a hoot. So yeah, no, I can happy to do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I think, and Bernadette may actually be a future guest on Arizona History Happy Hour.
She can tell you her Scent Rock story then, because she has got a kickin' Scent Rock story. Bern, you might have to tell it now.
You're muted. You might be muted. Yep.
Okay. Well, now you've set the stage, Beth. But so 12 years ago, I ran a program called Gallery 37, which is a program that is modeled after the Chicago Gallery 37 program. And this was when I was with the West Valley Arts Council. We ran this program for almost 20 years, and I've done public art projects with teenage artists all throughout West Valley cities. Marshall and I go way back. We worked on the Big Read together, so he probably knows a little bit of this story. But there was this artist in my program one year who I almost had to kick out because he tagged the door at the community college where we worked, and he wouldn't admit to it, but he tagged the door with his initials. So it was pretty easy to figure out. But I almost kicked him out of the program because of the property damage he did. However, he was one of the most talented artists we had. He was, a high school kid from the Tolleson area, and he was one of the best that I had ever come across. So we gave him a second chance, and he ended up working on our program for 2 summers in a row doing public art projects with us. And then, fast forward to 2 years ago, we were sitting in a Zoom with our team from Robot Proof, and they are scattered across London and Chicago and LA. And the Chicago team is a married couple. And we were brainstorming the one day because initially when we wanted to start this program, I don't know if Beth mentioned this, but we were looking at existing content because that was the cheapest route. And we thought if we could kind of stitch together all these existing virtual reality pieces from museums or dances or whatever, we could create some type of story. And we found out very quickly that that was not true, that it would be boring or it looked dated. It just didn't, it wouldn't speak to children at all. So we knew we had to create it from scratch. So we were brainstorming the one day with this couple from Chicago, and they said, well, there's this artist that we know that we follow, and he's very prolific. He's painting murals all over Chicago. And I knew exactly who they were talking about because I'd been following him on Instagram for 12 years, just watching his career rocket. And he's done such an amazing job that it just all made sense. And so now he's part of the program, part of the family.
Super cool. Very, very cool. Beth, I want to capture this because I know we're having this really awesome conversation. So this meetup has been going on for like 4.5 years now, and there are people from all kinds of backgrounds. You've seen now like artists and psychologists and engineers and researchers. I mean, there's all kinds of people. And we often hear different kinds of ideas at different times, like as the maturity level of VR and AR and XR and all these technologies, as they start to mature, we're hearing similar ideas at different levels of maturity as far as the technology is concerned. The thing that we keep hearing is this, like, be able to observe a thing as a group, or being able to learn about a thing. The one that I'm always partial to is like a time travel thing. Like, what if you could observe it from the time in which it occurred, like the 1950s or the 1850s or whatever it might be. But it always ends up sounding a lot like a field trip. And I'm so happy to know that there's this homegrown solution to what could be a global type of problem. And I see nothing but opportunity, because it really takes like those first investments, those first steps until for you to be able to see all the other things you can potentially do. So congratulations, because it's super impressive what you all are doing. And I'm just trying to think of different ways in which we can help as a community. And that's what this meetup is about, like figuring out what are the things for good, and then how do we get them to and promulgate them into the culture? Because like that's like this kind of thing, especially after we've seen, what the pandemic does to budgets, educational budgets, and what states like Arizona might be doing to educational budgets. These are just amazing, amazing advancements. You're literally, expanding children's universes in the rooms that they're in, and potentially at home. It sounds like, you guys are on a path to reaching a lot of other types of use cases. Just wanted to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions, thoughts? I know this is like super interesting stuff. Actually, I'll say I have a question. If you could make any piece of content for a field trip for the next season or a future season, Beth, what field trip would you want to go on?
Okay, Bernadette thinks I'm gonna say I want to go see Dr. Dre, but we said that's not as child appropriate, maybe. So I find Lin-Manuel Miranda just so incredibly engaging as a human, and I could perform a one-woman Hamilton for you right now if you all have a couple hours on hand. But I just find his style, what he's created, I would love to sit down and talk to him. I'd love to see where he works. I'd love to see his work process on the subway. I think that one would just be amazing. Yeah, and I'll go to Italy. Yeah, let's go. Bernadette and I like to pick our VR trips based on where we want to vacation, because we like to go help with filming.
I got your guy in Italy if you need it. Like he's all over. Like he'll hook you up.
Sounds good. Yeah, Lori, we have to go help research. We did go to Chicago to film there, and we went to Tucson too.
Very
It
cool.
was great.
Sky, you had a question?
Oh, I did. I was curious if you have done any experimentation with cardboard VR viewers that you might be able to leave behind in some of these areas so that they could review what you had presented.
We have a partnership with Megan Epley, who runs Stardom, A-R-T, real big, Stardom, and she does these amazing, oh, thank you, Becca. She just put it in the chat. She does these amazing boxes that go out to parents and schools every month with a different theme. And she has a collab box that we did with her that is VR goggles, and then some other STEM types activities, like you can make your own drum or stringed instrument and do your own graph math to make your own mural. But that's what we have done with the cardboard goggles so far.
I thought it would be interesting, how you have the little free libraries, to actually have that, but have VR experiences in the little free libraries.
Ooh, that's fun.
That would, yeah.
You're just giving me all sorts of ideas today. That's a great idea.
Any other questions, thoughts?
Not so much a question, just a general hello to everybody. My name is Olivia Hernandez. I'm a graduate student at ASU. I'm an artist, and I also work as a creative manager for a learning and education in XR studio. So this has just been an embarrassment of riches to find out about this meetup on a Tuesday night. I am so glad to meet all of you and learn about the work that's happening here, to learn more about the connections happening already in the community. So I will be back next time. But I also selfishly just want to put forward Beth and Bernadette in particular. I would love to just take up more of your time because I'm representing a studio that has about 70 developers. Just love to talk more about how we could support you potentially in developing further chapters using our student workforce.
Olivia, we're coming to visit you on the 18th. We'll be there. I cannot wait to meet you in person.
Can't wait. It's going to be great. I sent you parking info.
Oh, yay. Thank you. That's always a concern at ASU.
So there's a sneak peek, Beth. Do you want to show it, or I can show it? I mean, it's whatever you want to do.
Yeah, sure. You want me to show it right now? I've got it pulled up.
Yeah.
Let me share my sound.
And can you intro it? Can you tell us what we're going to be looking at? What is this?
Yes, so this is, no, it's not. I can't get out of my stop share, that one. This is a movie trailer of our very first season, Freedom and Expression. Let me pull it up somewhere. I had it. Darn it, it only wants to show me this. Do you have it, Fox, up and handy to share?
Yeah, I can show it.
My PowerPoint is in the way of everything.
No,
I think I didn't shut things down correctly.
no problem.
I love presenting to a bunch of tech people and having my tech go well.
All right, so we're looking at a sneak peek of season 1. Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay, let me start it and make sure that I'm sharing audio. You guys hear audio?
Yep.
Sweet.
Are you ready? This is not just any field trip. This is an Act 1 Arts Immersion. Today, we will explore how artists find freedom in expression. On today's field trip, we will see murals and a live performance from a mariachi band. Both of these art forms have historical roots in Mexico, and to this day, mural making and mariachi have remained important forms of expression.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Joseph Perez, aka Scent Rock, a local street artist, muralist, born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. I learned to do murals while I was a kid in Phoenix, Arizona at a school program, and eventually I picked up spray paint to do large-scale murals like the one behind me. Hope you guys like it, and I look forward to showing you more of my art and more of the city. My style really derives from me being Mexican American. I see a lot of the early muralists, like the big three, Orozco, Siqueiros, and Diego Rivera, you know, being able to share their culture through artwork, and I just always loved that.
My name is Dianna Livarez, and I am a local musician here in Tucson, Arizona. I love mariachi music and have been playing mariachi for 10 plus years now. What I love about being a musician is that it's a form of escaping. No matter what the stresses of every day have for us, if I sit down at my piano or practice my violin or sing a song, I find that in that moment, I can truly escape the stresses of everyday life and also express myself.
I can imagine that this being like a really intimate experience for someone, whether they're interested in art or not. Like if they're interested, it'll just be all even better just because they can appreciate the way the studio's set up or whatever. But if they're not interested, I mean, like I'm not an artist, like a visual artist by any means. I'm like, dang, I want to look around and you know, see what a day. It's almost like what a day in the life of that person is that you can get from their surroundings. So.
And you're so right. The kids look around his studio when that whole portion that we're in his studio, and they'll like pick things off of his shelves to talk about. It's so interesting. There at the very beginning of that chapter, there are kids dancing on a stoop, and you have to look for it so carefully. But 2 kids in every class, I'll find those kids dancing on the stoop every time we do this. Or there's right where I was standing, facing Scent Rock when he was talking, there's like a "do not feed the rats" sign. And I always challenge the kids to see if they can find that little Easter egg, "do not feed the rats." They're not your pets. They notice everything. It's so fun to watch this with kids because they just are so immersed in it.
Very cool. This has just been mind-boggling. Just awesome. Super appreciate you all from Act One making the time to present to us and share with us all the good work that you're doing. You know, I'd love to do a follow-up when you have, you know, other bits of content, or if you just want to tell us about what you're doing. Like it's really nice to hear, you know, local organizations using this technology in very impactful and meaningful ways. Any other last questions? Any final words, Beth?
Just thank you so much for this opportunity. Like I said, I get the opportunity to talk to teachers who are just my favorite people, but this is so fun to talk to people who know VR and know tech and really like see the beauty and the potential of what we're building. Just thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been great.
And if we want to collaborate or reach out to you all, what's the best way to find you?
Definitely find us on our website. Come visit the website so you can see how easy it is for teachers to book these trips too, because of course, that's part of our mission, is making field trips really easy and really accessible. But I'll put my email in here for everyone too. Please reach out and stay in touch with us.
And if you could, I know we're going to post this on YouTube later. If you could just kind of spell out the URL, the web address for us.
Sure, it's ACT and the number 1, act1az.org.
Awesome. And with that, this has been another episode of Phoenix VR for Good, featuring Dr. Beth Maloney and Act One and their VR program. The next episode, I think, may be on workforce development. Peter Costa from Baltitech, one of my co-founders, is going to be talking a little bit about what we've been up to, and we'll see if we can get some other local organizations to talk about the use of this type of technology for training and education in terms of workforce development. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Have an awesome
Thank
night.
you, Beth. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. So good meeting you. And I'll see you on the 18th.